What's up, everyone, and welcome to the most positive pop culture podcast in the multiverse, Metalcore Nerds, where each episode I have a guest from the podcast or music community, and we talk about the latest and greatest in entertainment. I'm your host, Sean Mott, and today we're talking about the new Spider-Man news, the Avengers Doomsday cast so far, and Daredevil Born Again. My co-host this week is AJ of Weird Wolves. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me back. What an exciting time. What an exciting time.
I know when I first asked you, we were just going to talk about Daredevil. Now look at all the stuff we got to talk about.
I mean, we're still going to talk a lot about Daredevil. I mean, there's a lot of really good stuff happening.
Like you said, it's like what a great time it is to be a comic book nerd. Even if you don't like comic books, if you enjoy the comic book adaptations, there's so much to enjoy. It's insane.
I'm opening up so many conversations with people you would just never have conversations with now because we found that middle ground.
That's awesome. I love that. That's the best.
Yeah, let's push the sports aside and let's talk all things comics.
I'm with you. I don't watch sports, so I have nothing to add to those conversations.
Nothing to add to that. I'm just like, baskets of unit.
And whether you return to the show or a first-time listener, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're watching this on the YouTubes, make sure you hit the subscribe button, like, comment, let us know what you're thinking of these new Marvel announcements of Daredevil, etc., what you're looking forward to. And if you're listening to just in the normal podcasting platforms, subscribe there. It helps the podcast continue to grow, helps more people find the show. If you want your daily fix of Metalcore Nerds, you can follow us on all social media at Metalcore Nerd. We're going to kick this off with the first thing that happened chronologically, I guess. The Avengers Doomsday cast reveal, where Marvel pulled off quite possibly the most insane marketing tactic of announcing a single cast member by revealing a name of an actor's share every 15 minutes. I loved this.
Oh, yeah.
And this is why. From a marketing standpoint, it is so utterly genius. Because even the people who said they hated it, 275 million people watched this stream.
Yeah.
It beat the record for the first Avengers Infinity War trailer. That's crazy.
It was so cool how they handled it. I love the fact that they did the whole presentation with the chairs.
It was the perfect thing. I was like talking to a few friends about this, and it's the perfect thing because there's like a lot of people now who like work from home or just have desk jobs in general. And it's the perfect kind of announcement for that because it's a very passive announcement. You know, like if you're just sitting there working, you know, you hear the music and you're like, oh, new chair getting announced, and you turn and you see the chair, or if you're not even listening to it, you can just look and then see there's a new chair. They're like, oh, cool, that person's in this movie, nice, that's really dope. And it was just like I don't know, like some people will say it's too simple or whatever, but I can only imagine how little that cost them and how much they made in revenue from all the socials for that.
I mean, you got to keep in mind Robert Downey's getting 80 million for 2 pictures, so I mean they got to cut costs where they can. I'm sure that was like a good way for them to save some revenue that they're going to have to pump into extra marketing for this.
I mean, after this, I have no doubt these movies are going to make so much money. Like
they're going to print
insane amount of money. For one, it's an Avengers movie. Like I think just the name Avengers, regardless of people feel about the MCU now, I still think an Avengers movie has a lot of weight with the general audience. People are going to see Avengers and they're going to like, oh, I'm going to go see that. Like no matter what, especially with the RDJ news, they're like, oh, RDJ's returning and he's playing the villain. Okay, I don't even care if I know what's going on. I'm gonna go watch it.
By the end of Secret Wars, mark my words, they are going to remove Ben Franklin from the 100 and they're going to put Robert Downey Jr. That's just a prediction.
That would be incredible.
They're gonna call them Robert Bucks.
Robert Bucks. I like that.
Robert Bucks.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. So in this 5-hour stream that they did, they announced the following cast members of Avengers Doomsday. Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Anthony Mackie as Sam Wilson Captain America, Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, Paul Rudd as Ant-Man with the small little chair, which was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Tenoch Huerta as Namor, which was a pleasant surprise for me. Simu Liu as Shang-Chi, Sebastian Stan as Bucky Barnes, Letitia Wright as Shuri Black Panther, Evan Moss-Backrack as The Thing, Kelsey Grammer as Beast, which if you guys didn't watch the Marvels, he was in that post-credit scene. So go YouTube the post-credit scene so you know what's going on with there. Lewis Pullman as Sentry, Danny Ramirez as Joaquin Torres, aka the Falcon, Joseph Quinn as Johnny Storm, David Harbour as Red Guardian, Winston Duke as M'Baku, Hannah Jo Kamen as Ghost, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Ian McKellen as Magneto, Alan Cumming as Nightcrawler, Rebecca Romaine as Mystique, James Marsden as Cyclops, Channing Tatum as Gambit, Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic, and of course, ended with good old Robert Downey Jr. showing up at the end. So I want to know, AJ, what was your favorite announcement of this group?
It's a toss-up. It's a toss-up between James Marsden coming back as Cyclops, because I really feel like he never got his due. And I think it's so awesome that we're getting Channing Tatum back again as Gambit, because he did such a good job in Deadpool and Wolverine that like he deserves all the screen time right now. And everybody else, like, I'm stoked on. Patrick Stewart has come back before, and as he said, Kelsey Grammer appeared in the Marvels, and the rest of the cast, like, awesome. But those two stood out to me. I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome.
I'm really stoked to hopefully see James Marsden have a impactful Cyclops role and have it be more like, if he comes in and has a scene like Cyclops did in X-Men 97, I would be so amped. I would be so stoked, because he was done so dirty in those movies, regardless if you love them or have nostalgia for them or not. Like they did Cyclops dirty.
Yeah, he's such such an ancillary character in the films. They made his character so weak, and it's just not fair. Like, I can understand maybe the first movie, him kind of like juggling, having to take on the leader role, but he was just cocky and useless at the same time. And it's like, that's not Cyclops at all.
No, 100% not at all. So for some reason, I think people might have been finding it again, but I posted this theory on Threads in August, and I said, what if Channing Tatum is from the same universe that we saw in the Marvels with Kelsey Grammer's Beast, with Binary, and now Monica Rambeau is there too? Because from what everyone is speculating now is that this movie is going to end up being a quasi X-Men versus Avengers movies. Like, those two universes are going to be colliding, sending them on a collision course. Eventually, they'll obviously work together or whatever it is. Obviously, we don't know this for a fact, but it's a good thing to kind of theorize and have fun with. So I think this whole X-Men team, they're probably all from the same universe. Beast in that post-credit scene mentions Charles Xavier. And a lot of people are thinking that this universe is going to be the same universe that happened after Days of Future Past. That future that we saw where the whole Phoenix thing doesn't happen. Everyone's teaching at the school, blah, 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 which could be such a great way to tie in the old franchise, which you have to remember, Kevin Feige got to start at Marvel on the OG X-Men movies. So him fully bringing these guys in to play with the new toys in this universe he's crafted over the last, 15, 17 years, or it's been, it's a beautiful thing in itself. And I'm just excited to see how it's going to all work together. But I really think that team they're all in the same universe, which would be the same universe probably as Deadpool and Wolverine, which I was wondering if we were going to see them getting announced. Now Marvel and RDJ have both said this isn't it. There's more coming, which makes sense. A lot of like scoopers and said there was going to be 44 announcements, and I believe there was like 22 or something like that, 20 something. So the fact that this is probably like half of the cast says a lot. This might be just the main players, like how we saw in Infinity War. There's a couple teams kind of taking stuff on as the movie goes along. And depending on how Fantastic Four ends, right now we have 3 universes involved, at least in this movie. We got the main 616 universe. We got the Fantastic Four universe if their universe doesn't implode at the end of their movie. And then now this X-Men universe. So that's exciting. A lot of people have been wondering the people who's missing, like who is actually not going to be in the movie, who's going to be in the movie. The big one's been Spider-Man, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. But a lot of the reports have been, which we'll get into this news in a little while, but his new Spider-Man movie, a lot of people think it's going to take place concurrently with Avengers Doomsday, or maybe around the same time as Avengers Doomsday, kind of like Ant-Man and the Wasp. That took place like a month before Avengers Infinity War. The post-credit scene tied into what would become Avengers Endgame, which could be a nice way to let Spidey have its own grounded story while still tying it into Secret Wars, because obviously Tom Holland has to be in one or both of these movies. You can't just not have Spider-Man.
Like you said, get the best of both worlds that way, because then you get like a fully grounded, like street level Spider-Man film, which they really haven't done yet. And then you kind of add that in. Well, I mean, technically, I guess they kind of did that with the first one, with
Homecoming.
Homecoming. Yeah, that was kind of street level, but this is another opportunity to do something like a fresh take on it, introduce some new characters, and then maybe like in a post credit, he comes across Doom. You know,
Yeah,
kind of like how at the end of, like you said, a Quantum Mania or Ant-Man and the Wasp, you know, the blip happens.
Is there any other names that weren't announced that you want to see in this movie?
I mean, come on. Who do you think I want to see? I really want to see them push in Ryan and Hugh. I want to see Deadpool and Wolverine make it into this world. We got the infamous question: why is Thor crying?
Why
You
is
know,
Thor crying?
And we need that answered. They're not just going to leave that out there.
No, as we've seen what the Russos did in Infinity War and Endgame, they are the kings of tying loose ends. So
Yes.
I think they tie a lot of loose ends that are happening, that have happened since post Endgame, and that has to be one. They have to answer that question for sure.
They have to.
One big moment I think that I wouldn't say understated, but it has me most excited as is Loki being a key player in this movie. And I always felt after the Loki series, like he needs to be a factor in these Avengers movies. He is literally holding together the multiverse.
Well, that's
Like,
what I'm saying. I'm like, there's no world in which they don't integrate him in there. That ending was fucking crazy.
So seeing his name, I was like, oh my God, yes. Thank God.
Yeah.
I just wrote an article for Collider that said with this casting announcements, it has made Loki the most important piece of media post Endgame. And I mean, they, for one, they launched the multiverse. Like they are they're the series that introduced the multiverse. And you know, the TVA was obviously such a big thing. They used it in Deadpool and Wolverine, which has been one of their biggest movies post Endgame, the highest grossing R-rated movie of all time. So I was like, yeah, thank God they have Loki. But Loki and Thor coming face to face again, I think is going to be a highly emotional moment. And I do think Thor might die in this movie or Secret Wars. We'll see.
I mean, we're gonna find out for sure. Like, there's definitely gonna be a lot of questions answered. One of the things I was thinking too just now as you were talking about all that, and it's one of those things I think that this major like initial announcement of the half of the cast kind of alludes to everybody that they're going to introduce in the second half. They might not be the main key players, but they're definitely going to get introduced. Like each one of those properties has their own world built around it. I mean, just all the fact that we're getting Channing Tatum's Gambit has to point toward a cameo, at least by Wolverine and Deadpool.
Right. You would assume, for sure.
I mean, we can only hope. But I can't imagine they're not going to dangle that in front of us.
Yeah, I think Hugh might play a bigger role in Secret Wars, maybe. And like a lot of people were hoping, you know, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield might get announced. I think they also might be a Secret Wars thing. Like I feel like Loki might end up building. There's a certain kind of comic counterpart to this, and obviously they do not stay straight with the comics. They do their own thing. But there is a run where he becomes Avengers Prime and builds a multiversal Avengers against Doom. I mean, it's right there. So we could definitely see that happening too. Obviously, his power is so insane now at this point, and I think he might be kind of like a MacGuffin for Doomsday. Likely, like there's probably going to be a face-off with Doom and Loki, I would imagine, at some point. And I think that's a really cool thing narratively too, because it's like an exact role reversal of Avengers 1. You know, Loki was the big bad. Avengers 1.
Yeah.
Tony was the hero. And to see it kind of reversed, I think is a really, really interesting and cool thing. I know some people have hated the Doom casting because I don't think he's going to be the Doom post Secret Wars. I think he'll just kind of go away and we'll get a new Doom. I think even the new Doom might even help vanquish this Doom in some way, shape, or form. Possibly, we'll see how that goes. But I think having Doom be a variant of Tony Stark, which the Russos have pretty much confirmed, they said his death in Endgame is like a big key factor into what's happening in these movies.
Right.
I just think there's so much narrative juice to that I think is going to be a very interesting ride. Having, you know, the biggest hero of your first saga be the biggest villain of the next saga. You know, there's just a lot to it that I think can be really cool and really emotional and just well done. So we'll see how it goes.
I wonder if they'll bookend Loki saying to Doom, "We have a Hulk."
Ooh, that would be cool. but then it's like She-Hulk or something instead.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Or it's like Eric Bana's Hulk or something.
Oh my God. I wonder if he'll come back.
Maybe.
I
I
can't
don't know.
imagine. I can't imagine him not wanting to redeem his Hulk.
Right. Or even if they somehow in some world get Edward Norton to come back, even though it's technically the same Hulk, but if he plays like a different version of Hulk, like that would be pretty wild.
They've
Just to
got
see
such a
him.
better shot of Eric Bana than they do of bringing in Edward Norton.
With these movies, I would say never with anyone. We got 2 massive Spider-Man announcements. So CinemaCon is happening this week as we're recording. So I know a lot of people were like, oh my God, some of this stuff is happening April Fool's Day. Is it real? Is it not? Fair. But a lot of it is real because there is a massive convention right now where it used to be just for theater exhibitors, theater owners, blah blah blah, to go and kind of get stoked on what's coming this year, in the future, stuff like that. Now it's kind of become a full thing where the media goes and influencers go, YouTubers, the whole nine. Like it's becoming this whole thing, kind of like a Comic-Con sort of. There's all these panels, they have screenings. Like right now as we're recording this, the How to Train Your Dragon world premiere is there at CinemaCon. So it's like a lot of things like that, which is really cool. So Sony had their presentation and they finally gave us a date for Beyond the Spider-Verse, June 4th, 2027. And I know that's still 2 years away and it's a long way, but they did reveal some awesome first look images that look absolutely unreal. They showed a footage at the panel and people said that they're like, every one of these movies, they just like level up and like invent new things, which is absolutely mind-blowing. And it's why these movies take so long, which is fine. I will wait however long. Just don't rush it. I don't care how long it takes. I just want to see this movie and in the way it was intended to be. And I kind of, as much of shit I've given Sony for their live action Spider-Man not connected to Spider-Man universe, I will give them all the credit for letting the creators and everyone behind these Spider-Verse movies to do their thing, because they let them do their thing and it ends up being well worth it. So I'm super stoked to see what this movie has in store. It has a very big possibility for, like being not only one of the best superhero trilogies of all time, but quite possibly one of the best trilogies of all time, which is a pretty wild thing to say.
Yeah.
Quite honestly. But what these movies do is just unreal. And they obviously, the Across the Spider-Verse left off on a massive cliffhanger, and it said this movie picks off right where that leaves off, thrusts us right into the action. It's supposed to be a massive finale with lots of twists, lots of turns. Obviously we saw like a million crazy Spider-Man variants in the last movie. I feel like this one will only up the ante. Hoping for a Tom Holland cameo finally. Maybe we'll see. I feel like he's the only one. We technically got Toby and Andrew. It was old footage. They're in the movie, so it counts.
Yeah.
They're in the movie, so it counts. But how stoked are you for Beyond the Spider-Verse? Are you okay with waiting? How you feeling about this?
I mean, the short answer is none of us are okay with waiting. I mean, we all want to see it right now. We live in a time period where everything, we want it all right now. But it'll be here when it's here, and of course I'm excited. They've been killing it with this series. It's so good. I just hope Andy Samberg comes back.
Yes, fair. Yeah, I'm just excited to see how it like culminates, because it's just like it ended in such a wild way. I'm very interested to see, and the fact that this movie takes place is coming out after Avengers Secret Wars. Just want to put that out there. Does that tie in some way? Probably not, but I can hope. I can dream. Maybe this is the way they bring Miles Morales into, the greater MCU. Sony's not doing any live action Spider-Man movies, I guess, is what they've said. I'm hoping this means they can just let Marvel Studios deal with it, bring it into the Spider-Man world, deal with all these characters and stuff like that. Like, even if they want to keep some of the casting, they can just smash them all together in Secret Wars and bring them into the same universe. It's fine. You can fix everything with Secret Wars. It's easy.
That's actually
easy
a really interesting thought. That's a really good way, if they wanted to kind of collide those worlds in Secret Wars, is bringing in Miles Morales in a way, even if it's just a cameo, just to introduce the actor that's going to play him.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
That would be that's awesome.
But then we got the Spider-Man 4 title reveal. Spider-Man Brand New Day, and it's confirmed to come out July 31st. I know Tom Holland sent in a video basically saying, I can't really say much, but, we left off a cliffhanger with Spider-Man No Way Home where Peter's in this very different part of his life, and this is going to be continuing that, which makes me hopeful that it's a more grounded street level story. There's been Sadie Sink has been cast in the movie, which no one knows who she's playing. It's weird because there was rumors that she was playing Jean Grey about like a month ago. So I don't think she's playing Jean Grey in this movie. A lot of people think she might be Mayday Parker. A lot of people think Gwen Stacy. A lot of people think Felicia Hardy. There's so many options. Like, honestly, a lot of people think Jackpot because Jackpot is in the Brand New Day comic arc.
And yeah,
she could be anything. We'll see how that kind of casting aligns, but I know they're looking for, apparently there's a female villain, which could be Silver Sable, maybe. We'll see. And obviously we're going to talk about Daredevil after this, and I just, please put Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio in this movie, even if it's for a small role. Just please put them.
Well, that's another reason why I really hope. I mean, what's the whole point of having that cameo in No Way Home if you're not going to bring, especially with the series running right now? Like, come on.
I know.
Give it to us. We want it.
And we're getting season 2 next year, probably around the same time. So it'll, whatever happens in this movie, I would imagine. I think he's building a team to fight the Anti-Vigilante Task Force in season 2. And it just seems insane to me that Spider-Man would be involved in that. And I know there's crazy rights. I don't think he can even appear in them legally, whatever. But God, I want that to happen. So bad.
Oh, man. So bad. So bad. Especially, I think the cool thing, too, is that you've seen the leaks of the suit.
I literally couldn't go on the internet without seeing them. So, yes, I've seen them.
Ooh. Ooh, it's about time. We finally get the symbol.
I know.
Finally get the symbol.
Stoked, but I wish I didn't see it through someone's picture on Twitter.
I mean, there's a lot of people's pictures on Twitter right now. It's just
so many. You literally can't go on Twitter without seeing it. Like, so many people were posting. I was like, Jesus Christ, if I didn't want to see this, it'd be impossible. I would have to not go on the internet ever. It was everywhere.
Yeah, literally everywhere. Especially if you follow so many accounts. I mean, yeah, it's great and all. Takes a little bit of the edge out of it, but at the same time, we're no strangers to leaks. So it all matters how it's going to appear on the screen, and that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, and the thing that I think is really cool about it, and this is the last I'll say of this leaked photo of the new suit, is it looks like it's his red suit painted over. Now the helmet is probably the black one that we've already seen in the series. But as you can see some of the red pointing out, and even the symbol is the red showing through of his red thing. I know some missing posters have shown in other, like, people just because they're filming in New York City, so it's like people can literally like walk up to where they're filming basically and see like what's going on.
Yeah,
and there's been some like missing Matt Murdock thing, which after episode 7 and the kind of destructive route he's going with his life. Makes sense. That dude is reckless abandon with his life, right? At this point, he's going off the rails. So that's for damn sure. But like we said, I hope it's a grounded movie that just kind of rolls into the Secret Wars, whether it's the ending, whether it's the post-credit scene, whatever. As long as the movie is mostly like, I hope they bring Scorpion back. That'd be nice.
Yeah, I think everybody in the world's forgotten about that.
I wonder if the symbiote left over after No Way Home, is that going to play a factor? Because I feel like it's the perfect time for him to get the black suit. He's alone.
If we don't get the black suit in Secret Wars, I'm going to be so bummed out.
If we don't get it in 4, I would imagine it's in Secret Wars because you fucking have to, right?
Like you got to give him the suit. You have to give him the suit. That's where it got made famous. Like that. Exactly. That's a travesty to not give him the symbiote.
So if he gets it in 4. Maybe that's post-credit too. Or he gets in Secret Wars. Whatever, I'm fine with either. Honestly, just fine with either. Especially with, obviously, I think he's going to be a key player in Secret Wars at least, even if he's not in Doomsday. And I think the whole, Doom looking like Tony Stark is going to be a very big thing for him to deal with, for sure. Even to a point where he might kind of side with him at first and then kind of realize, this isn't the guy I knew. I gotta figure this out. But yes, lots of exciting stuff for the MCU coming up, but let's talk about what the MCU is going around right now. Daredevil Born Again, 7th episode just debuted. Now, before we get into kind of what's happened in the last few weeks, I haven't really talked about this on the show since the premiere, so the first 2 episodes. But what has your general thoughts on the series been so far?
I love it. I mean, to be honest with you, like, obviously expectations going into this were high because of, such a huge fan of the Netflix series. But the way that they've kind of like balanced it while still kind of like peppering in their own like MCU kind of vibe to the show, I think it's been done so tastefully. I like this approach that they're going for, and like kind of like leaning into the political side of New York, and with Kingpin and everything, and kind of mirroring in a way everything that's kind of going on in the news. The introduction with law enforcement using the Punisher symbols, I thought was really, really interesting. And the confrontation between him and Frank Castle, I'm excited to see where that's gonna bubble into. And it's just been overall great. I mean, the first half not having a lot of Daredevil kind of always bums you out, because you want, but I understand why they're doing what they're doing and playing into the arc, because he's kind of going through this suppression of the past, trying to move on and just focus on being an attorney. But there's that looming devil on his shoulder whispering in his ear to come back. And you got this serial killer taking over the city and causing mayhem. Fisk becomes the mayor, and he's just bubbling and bubbling at the surface. So when he puts that, when you see him on that rooftop playing with his batons, you're like, yeah, here we go. And he's just coming in and wrecking things. So awesome.
Yeah. I loved the build up to getting him back in the suit, and I'm glad it took like pretty much half the season to get him back.
Yeah.
It made it, because after like the end of episode 2, I was like, oh, he's gonna go back in the suit immediately. And I'm glad he's like, nope, that was like just a isolated incident. Had to protect myself. No big deal. And even like episode 5, people being like, oh, that was a filler episode. It's like, it wasn't a filler episode. It was a bottle episode, which means it like takes place in just one location, and it really focuses on one character. And guess what, guys? It's a Daredevil show, so it focuses on the titular character, so it's fine. And I think that episode was needed because it can't be a filler episode that helps drive the plot forward. And what that episode really did was showcase, if he's got to be a hero, he's going to be a hero. And I think the whole Miss Marvel connection too was like, oh, there are other heroes still out there doing the thing. Maybe I should still be doing the thing. And obviously it adds to the whole Hector Ayala White Tiger stuff. And so I felt like that episode was needed to help drive him to put the suit back on, which and once he did, it was like, everyone's like, yes, let's fucking go. Like, let's go.
But on the other side, of it, it also like kind of highlights the fact that, like, in order for him to be a hero, he doesn't need the suit. He's clever,
right?
And so it kind of shows you a little bit more of like, he and the suit are one. He is Daredevil, whether he's in the costume or not. And I thought that was really cool. Like how Matt Murdock handled the entire situation was sick. And they might call it a filler episode, but I think it was smart on their part to have one episode contained in one location for budgetary purposes. A lot of like TV shows will do that. They'll have like a one location episode, and the cool thing is they gave us 2 back-to-back that week. Right. So it's kind of like they were kind of worried, but they knew that this episode had to glue to this episode, so they needed those 2 together. So they gave you more, which was awesome.
Right. Yeah. It was a good 1-2 punch for sure. Because you saw him, kind of take things into his own hands that he would normally do if he was just being a normal lawyer. And then the next episode, he realized, I really got to do this thing. I really got to put I got to put the helmet back on. I got to put the suit back on. We got to do this thing. We got to make it happen.
Let's be honest. We all did the exact same thing. Even you guys watching at home who've tuned in for this kind of conversation, we all did this. We had a remote and we went, oh shit, they dropped 2. We all did that.
It was awesome. It was great. I loved it. I don't know. It's just, I like how this, I think this is truly the first Marvel Disney Plus series that actually feels like a TV show. I watch a lot of TV, like a disgusting amount of TV.
Same.
And this has been and there's a lot of them I enjoyed. Like, I still think Loki's still my favorite Disney Plus series. I will leave it out to see how this season ends and see how season 2 comes in and everything like that. But Loki reigns supreme for me. And even that doesn't really feel like a TV show. It just feels like a really good project that was made and kind of cut into pieces.
Yeah.
But this feels like a TV show. The way it's edited, the score, which shout out the Newton brothers. I've gotten to talk to them a number of times, and they are the fucking coolest dudes ever, and obviously just incredible at what they do. And the score is so good. Even in this last episode, there was when Kingpin's talking about Daredevil being back, and the choir just kind of like slowly rises up. I'm like, dog, this this is so fucking good. So like everything, like the editing about it, and I kind of the fact that it was filmed like 6 episodes. They're like, hey, we need to change things. They came in and completely revamped, retooled, refilmed everything because of the strikes. The strikes were kind of the biggest blessing in disguise for the series. And like even to the point that when they originally approached John Bernthal, he's like, no, I'm good. And then when they retooled it and went back to him, he's like, yeah, I'm in. I'm sure it helps that the showrunner of the show was the showrunner of The Punisher. He probably already has a pretty good relationship with John Bernthal, and it was like, hey, we're going to do this right. We're going to make it work. Now, even more so that he's co-writing his own Punisher special that'll come out concurrent with Daredevil season 2 next year. Next year for Marvel is insane.
I'm pretty sure that was part of the negotiation to get him in on this. I mean, retooling the script and offering him a special presentation that'll probably, let's be honest, will probably end up leading into him having his own series and or movie.
Very possible, for sure, which I'd be down with either. To be
why would you do the special presentation? If anything, they're going to probably use the special presentation to just show you how brutal the Punisher can be and how okay they are with R-rated content now, that they'll be able to roll that into whatever John Bernthal wants, because they know he's got a built-in fan base as this character and people will show up for it.
I would love to see an R-rated Punisher movie. Love.
Yeah. Well, let's rephrase. Well done. I mean, we've gotten several R-rated Punisher movies that have been okay.
Correct. I didn't love the Punisher series on Netflix, if I'm being honest. A lot of people get like really surprised by that. I just feel like it was way too much buildup for finales that were mostly good but not amazing.
I don't know. I think one
kind of the best part.
I think the first season was arguably the best one. The second season was kind of lackluster.
Pretty bad. Yeah, not great.
Yeah, second,
not bad.
It was
not good.
No, it was watchable, but it wasn't like what we got in the first season. The first season we got like this awesome like street level crime drama with just like violence galore. And the second one we got kind of like a buddy, like road kind of movie thing.
Yeah,
that was
weird.
So I feel like maybe this special presentation will be kind of a palate cleanser, so that they can figure out what to do with him next. But I really think that they're going to be leaning toward bringing him to the big screen. I don't know. Something tells me, because he's a movie star, you know?
He is. I agree.
100%. He is a fucking movie star, and he could carry like an R-rated theatrical kind of presentation. And I think Marvel would be stupid not to consider that, because that man could reign in supreme in the box office if it's done properly.
Yeah.
Like if we got like Warzone, like for real.
Yeah, keep a low budget.
Keep a low budget, gritty. Throw him in some type of iteration of the suit.
Oh yeah, we've seen like his version of the suit with just like the bulletproof vest with the skull on it is dope. I'm fine with that. I'm cool with that. Which seems like it's coming back for this season. There's been trailer footage with him with the nice haircut. Once he's got the haircut, game's over. It's over.
Listen, they've learned from that Dolph Lundgren thing. They've learned you have to put the skull on the suit.
Oh, for sure.
If you watch the Dolph Lundgren one, there's no skull. There's not even a T-shirt with kind of a skull on it. It's just nothing to indicate that it's the Punisher. It could be literally any shoot 'em up action movie starring Dirty Elvis.
But I mean, that's before people were scared about superhero stuff, and like even the MCU is kind of scared to do comic accurate stuff for a little bit. Until they
for a little bit,
like, oh, we can just do the thing. Okay, cool, let's go.
Yeah, we can. The days of the leather clad outfits are over. Now let's paint them up. Let's get in there and let's make it. Yeah, the thing that people have been dreaming about for the last 50, 60 years. Give them that. Like, don't be surprised if we have comic accurate X-Men costumes coming in Secret Wars and everything like that. Like we
happening.
have to. Back to the Punisher thing. I really liked the scene that they introduced Frank Castle back in. Like what a powerful scene. Those two talking about like morality and
Grief.
him basically calling him a hypocrite.
Yeah,
Those
it all just goes back to I rewatched the Netflix series leading up to this just to have it
right.
fresh in my brain. And for one, I forgot how insanely badass his introduction, the Punishers, in season 2.
Yeah.
Basically, how he's just like the militarized boogeyman, basically. But then their conversation on the roof, it's like probably the best part of season 2. It's probably one of the best parts of Daredevil as a whole. Is just that conversation between them two, and getting to see kind of a newer, evolved version of that with the knowledge of what Matt did, hanging up the, trying to kill Bullseye, the talk about Foggy, like, the line where he's like, he got life. And he's like, what about Foggy? Did he get life? And I'm like, dude, oh my God. Like,
that's one of those scenes that like everything's quiet while you're watching it. Like you are, you're watching this series and, minus the Foggy death scene, which, sucks you right in. That scene has your full attention for the 5 minutes that it happens. And it's probably one of the best scenes in Marvel history just on screen. Yeah, as far as like dramatic performance goes, those two just nailed that scene so well.
The one criticism I'll have, and it's mostly with this last episode, is that I loved what they did last episode with Muse. They've been kind of teasing him here and there throughout the series leading up to the last episode. Last episode, we fully get what Muse is going for. And I love that they followed the comics pretty good for what he's done. He uses blood in his murals. He's straight up murdering people. Like the whole mural where he has the two girls dead after they ask him for the picture. I was like, okay, let's go. They're doing the thing. I was worried they were going to take him out last episode. And I was like, it's too soon. Don't take him out yet. That you just got to him. So when in this episode, they just kill him. I mean, after a very effective episode with him in it, but I was like, no, it's too soon. I was like,
too soon.
Why did you kill him? I was like, I wanted more because it was like he was a psycho and I loved it. I just wanted more. So
we barely got to see that though. I agree. They completely and utterly underutilized him. I left that episode just really bummed out because that could have carried the entire arc. There was no reason to take that guy out yet. I don't feel like we got an opportunity to see how psychotic he could get or how far he could push Daredevil.
Right. For sure.
And that's it. Just shot.
Their fight was sick. Like it was cool. Broad fucking daylight. Him putting the grappling hook through his shoulder. I was like, oh shit. I love how this series is being like, oh, you guys were worried it wasn't going to be as brutal as Netflix.
Yeah. By the third arm snap, you're like, okay, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, like Matt like jump stomping that dude's
broke someone's leg. You just see it crack.
Brutal. In this season, you see a woman get her arm cut open, and it's like, damn, cut away. They're showing the whole thing, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Cool. They show bodies hanging from hooks and shit, like real wild stuff. So kudos to that, but definitely very bummed that Muse got killed. And because I was hoping, because his powers in the comics are like wild. He has like enhanced strength, enhanced speed, and that's how he can like paint these murals so fast. He's technically an Inhuman, which I did not think they were going to do that, obviously, because we forgot about the Inhumans besides that cameo in Doctor Strange. I was wondering if they were going to like fully, and he has this thing where he like totally messes with Daredevil because I can't remember what it's called, but it's this power that totally messes up him trying to sense him. Because it's obvious. I mean, he talked about taking Taekwondo, but that dude could fight far better than just some kid who took Taekwondo. And
wait, can we go back real quick on that? Did you notice that he said that he took Taekwondo for 3 months and then killed his sensei?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, just nice.
3 months. I just remember catching that and going like, what? Like a Karate Kid montage? Like, how does that go down? 3 months, this other guy's been training his entire life. Yeah. He's your sensei. You killed him in 3 months of learning Taekwondo. And where did you compete in 3 months? They wouldn't let me spar in boxing in 2 years of training.
I don't know. I just wish they expanded on that a little more because obviously the dude can fight, and he's like
Yeah,
carrying around people like they weigh nothing. Like
yeah,
any dude is like carried someone around. It's like hard after like 30 seconds, even if you're
yeah,
strong.
absolutely,
Just putting
absolutely.
someone over your shoulder and carrying them, and this dude's just carrying them with ease down subway tunnels and stuff. Come on,
Well, he's obviously got enhanced strength. Keep in mind, he killed his
at
sensei
least.
after 3 months of training
But they don't say anything about it. And I love a good
at
show don't
all.
tell, but they just leave it completely empty. And because I
Yeah.
was kind of hoping they shot him and then he just like comes back. Like I was kind of hoping he like eventually he would just do like an Undertaker and just like sit up or something. That would have been sick. He like disappears and comes back later. Like I would have been so fine with that, but that didn't happen.
I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but we don't know what happens post morgue. But I doubt
I
they're going
think
to
he's
bring
dead.
him back. I think that was it. It was done.
Yeah, for
Again,
sure.
they really like, in my opinion, I'm sure yours too. They
Yeah,
underutilized that character. That character could have gone for
100%.
at least caused a little bit more mayhem before going out.
Yes, completely agreed. Because it seems like what his real purpose was for Fist to finally launch this anti-vigilante task force.
Right.
And now that Daredevil's back, he can use it as a platform to go against him. There's like that super interesting conversation with that one mob boss leader and Vanessa. And he's like, why is he even run? Why does he want to be mayor? And I think it is because he wants to be the hero and make Daredevil the villain, even if he thought because when he hears Daredevil's back, he like seems like happy about it.
Oh,
Like
he's
he doesn't seem
excited.
mad. He's like
No.
stoked. So it's like it was part of his master plan that he was eventually gonna get him out back again so he can make
Mhm.
him the villain. And I know Bullseye's coming back.
Yeah,
They've
for
already
sure.
teased. These last two episodes were definitely in the reshoot era, and they're directed by the same people who did the first episode, same people who
Mhm.
did the second season of Loki, Benson and Moorhead. They're fucking incredible. So I think it just might be an all-out war. I do think it might be happening a little too fast in a way. They kind of set the stage for it, but I'm like, how is he gonna get Punisher involved? Like he seemed very not about it. I don't know. Maybe he admits, I'm just like you, Frank. Can we just do this together? Like, I'm down. If we got to take them out this way, that's fine. So I'm interested to see if that, like, I've been wondering if, now that Miss Marvel was, her dad was in it, is Miss Marvel going to show up? Or is it a little too dangerous for Miss Marvel to be involved when the Punisher's going to be involved? Probably.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
at the same time, if they're launching this anti vigilante strike force, you got to remember Frank Castle still is a vigilante. So now you have this
for
strike
sure.
force that's going after everybody. I wonder who they're going to end up hunting down. I wonder if we're going to get any
Mhm.
appearances from any of the, what was it? What was the name of the, oh God, the Defenders.
Yes, like Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, any of
Yeah.
them.
I mean, come on,
I
they got to
would
bring him in second season.
I that's the word on the street is that he gets the defenders back together and they're part of like the fight against Kingpin and the task
Yeah.
force and stuff. I hope so. I would be very down. One they did introduce that I watched the episode twice because I missed it in the beginning. But Tony Dalton, a swordsman from the Hawkeye series, I didn't notice that he was shown in footage fighting off people as a vigilante with a sword earlier in the
Oh
episode. I was like,
shit, I
oh my
didn't
god,
see that either.
I watched it twice and I was like, "Oh shit, he's being a vigilante. Whoa, that's cool." So he could get arrested for sure.
Yep.
I could
Oh
definitely
yeah.
see that happening. Which that whole scene with him and the rich people, amazing. I loved it
Hmm.
so much. Like him kind of being at odds with the elite of New York City per se. I'm really liking the series. Obviously, you were really liking the series too. Like even at 9 episodes, I feel like things are happening a little too fast. Mostly not even things, just the main plot devices. Like I feel like this season could have just dealt with Muse, and then obviously season 2, they're still dealing with the task force, as we've seen from all these set photos. So like I mean obviously this is going to set that up, but like I feel like they could have waited maybe.
You
I don't know.
know,
I got to see how it goes.
I
I got to see how it
I
goes.
think in a way that this isn't your traditional series. I think that this is part of a full arc, like a
For sure.
full
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
three season series that we're only gonna get to see the middle in the second
Mm.
part. Because like you said, too many things are evolving too fast, or are they? Is this a longer story that we don't see happening right now, because they've only announced season 2 and they're filming season 2, but that doesn't mean that they're not going to go right into season 3 after, and maybe season 3 is the climax of this. So you get basically 3 long form films cut down into, you know, three TV series spread across this whole like thing. So I think right now it's just everything that's happening right now is set up for something bigger.
For sure. And that, I mean, that's TV in itself. It's just that usually the season has its own arc, and maybe it still will happen.
Yeah, true.
Like, it might just be the Muse thing just bothering me, because that's the only thing that's bothered me so far, is that I was like,
yeah, because it sucks. There's so much more that could have been done with that character. That's such an interesting character. And I feel like
he awesome. Like such a different villain for the MCU in general. Like it was just such a cool addition that I was just like, they went to like phase 1 problems where they like killed the villain, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah, and they didn't really give him the chance to like breathe. He really, I mean, aside from, you know, the off-screen murders of 60 people, you know, a couple murals, the thing with the girls, and then, you know, the showdown with the therapist. It was like you didn't really get a chance for us to see how psychotic this dude was.
Right. Exactly.
I don't know. It's a bummer. It's like, where are those other 60 kills? Why couldn't we have gotten like a few more of those?
Yeah, like, I wish he just progressed a little more. And I get the whole thing is that like Fist wants to stop him and prove the task force is worth it, and Daredevil wants to save his girlfriend, obviously. Well, and stop the serial killer, but the fact that it ended up being his girlfriend being the target, like that, obviously helped make him more inclined to stop him. And also, I want to end on Vanessa trying to kill him. Wild.
Yeah.
Wow.
But he seemed to have his finger on the pulse there. He said, ask Vanessa if she wants anything brought home.
Dude.
Or whatever he said.
It just proved my man still got it.
Still got it. Still got it. Has his man in the shadows.
Buck Cashman in the series he's proving to be a little more similar to his comic counterpart, but his comic counterpart, he's this massive motherfucker, and he was actually like pretty much like a black ops US government employee who gets appointed to work for Fisk, and he kind of heads the task force, I think, in the comics,
right?
But wildly different. But obviously the dude knows his way around guns.
Yeah, some shadows and some guns.
Yeah. So that was cool to see. I was like, oh, okay, nice. Because as soon as his back was turned, I was like, there's no way Fisk is just like chilled back turn. Like,
no way. There's some, the writing was on the wall for that one. He's always 10 steps ahead.
So very interested to see how their dynamic continues to evolve, because the way they've handled Vanessa and Wilson, I think the season has been very interesting. How, you know, she kind of took over the business when he was like crying about Maya Lopez basically shooting him in the face, and now he's kind of like withdrawn her from it, but obviously she still wants to be a part of it, and it's like this very interesting dynamic, and he still loves her but doesn't seem like she loves him. But maybe that's out the window now that she tried to kill him.
I just wonder if in the next couple episodes they'll be back in couples therapy again.
I mean, it's very possible, but
how many episodes are left?
2. Only 2.
We're going to wrap this up in 2 episodes.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Because originally it was announced as an 18 episode season.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, whoa, it's a lot of episodes. And they're like, after they reworked it, they're like, season 1's going to be 9. I think season 2 is 8 episodes from what the showrunner said. At least that's what they're planning on shooting. And they have like written and everything like that. So it'll end up being what they said. Like these are supposed to be 2 parts of one story, is what they've said. But Brad Winderbaum, who's a big producer at Marvel, he said his hopes is like, I want to do a season of Daredevil each year, and I would love for Daredevil to keep going. Charlie Cox is Daredevil. Vince D'Onofrio is Kingpin. If we get more of their stories like this, I'm all in. I'm glad I'm not crazy about the Muse. Like my feelings are validated for believing what they did to Muse, because I saw a lot of people, I mean, rightfully so, saying this episode was great, but that part really boned me out, because I was like, I get it. Look, I had to move the story, but whatever.
Look, it was absolutely a great episode. That's a lot of really cool stuff happened. It was fantastic. It was a good watch of TV. That still doesn't change the fact that they underutilized this character and they killed him off too quickly in such a lame way.
But AJ, thank you again for coming back on the show, talking a whole lot of Marvel with me today. This was great.
I was very excited. Thank you for having me. Obviously I came fully prepared for this today.
Prepared, ready to go.
Prepared.
Now, before we get out of here, please let the people know what you got going on, what Woz has going on, where they can find you.
We've got a lot of music coming out. We're basically going to be, I probably shouldn't say this, but we basically have like a new song coming every 2 months. We're working on a lot of new material right now, about to go back in the studio in 2 weeks. Yeah, there won't be a shortage of music right now. Outside of that, we're taking a break show-wise until summer so we can focus on writing, and that's about it. And, if you want to find us, our social handles are all the same. It's at werewolves, the normal way you spell werewolves, _FL on everything social media.
Perfect. I'll make sure and link everything down below so you can go support the band. Make sure you check out all the music they have coming out. You guys have progressively been putting out new music, I think, since you were on the podcast last, which I think was like 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. So
yeah,
kudos to you guys for that, because that's hard work. I know.
I appreciate it. I always joke around to the guys that like I wanna in a way go out like Prince or Tupac with just like a vault full of music that outlives me. I'm just always in the studio making stuff.
I mean, that's a good way to go. I think that's super, super dope. And then if you want to support the podcast, just go to metalcorenerds.com. All our links are there in one easy place. If you want to follow me on my personal account, it's just out at Sean Xma on Instagram and Twitter. Until next time, see you later, nerds.